researching universities. Okay, I'm sure it wasn't easy for you to just get into.
Ma'am, to be very, very, very honest and unfiltered, thing which I want to say is
What was the difference in education or the way the syllabus is set out? Do you get any practical experience in the UK?
absolutely a very, very good noticeable point which I observed. So,
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode on Priya Physios podcast. Today we are going to have a very special guest, Urvashi Ravindra, who is a first contact physiotherapist in the UK, and she pursued her FCP journey from completing a master's at Leeds Beckett University. So she has a master's in sports and exercise medicines. She also has another master's from India in orthopedics. She's a certified podiatrist and she is certified in FA and Football Association level 4. So we have this special guest. She's also a mum of a 10-month-old child who is going to be around, which I'm sure will show you the commitment that Urvashi has towards her career and towards her profession. Hi, Urvashi. Thanks a lot for agreeing to be on this podcast with me. We can hear your lovely baby in the background. So I know it takes a lot of effort for a new mom to get back on your professional track again, your career journey. I really like your dedication.
thank you
Let me
so
just tell our viewers a little bit about who you are and how we know each other. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce Urvashi to all of you. Urvashi was my junior, so when I was completing my master's at KLE University in Belgaum, India, Urvashi was the first year student. And that's how we knew each other. And I think there was a different bond with Urvashi's batch that our batch had, especially us living in the hostel together. So that's how we know Urvashi. And the babies decided all of a sudden that she wants to come in the podcast too. Tell us a little bit about your background, okay? Your backstory, like everything from your personal to professional, who you are as a person.
sure. Sure. So my name is Urvashi Ravindra. I am from India, Pune, Maharashtra. I have done my bachelor's from KLE Belgaum, and then I have worked for a few years, did few certifications, worked with hospitals, clinics, and then I decided to do my master's in orthopedics, which I did from Hosmat Bangalore. And then I still felt more need of learning, and that's how the whole journey began. As the moment we used to practice, I used to understand, okay, this is left, I should know this. So when I always had that craving or that urge to be more and more better in my profession, because the way I am dedicated towards my profession, kind of level where I'll be happy, content, and satisfied. That's when she suggested me about UK. So I did my masters from Leeds Beckett University. That's how I entered UK. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So it's incredible to know that you've completed two masters. So what was the difference? So if you compare your masters in India and your masters in the UK, what was the difference in education or the way the syllabus is set out? Do you get any practical experience in the UK? Because I know from India's you have practical experience. So what was the difference?
Absolutely, a very, very good noticeable point which I observed. So in India, we had combination of learning with practicals. So here, there's a very different scenario. So how we study here is we do an evidence-based practice. So whatever we are reading, learning has to have an evidence. So example, we used to read by articles. So any article, we were more onto research and evidence based practice in the UK compared to India, we had books, syllabus. Okay, you have to read this, you have to do this, you should know these conditions, you have to perform in the practical. And that was the massive and major difference I can point out between these two.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So just so that all our viewers understand what Urvashi just said, the masters in India had two components. There was taught modules where you have theory, and then we had then she had practical experience as well, with along with her postings and placements in the hospital in all the departments as the master's postgraduate student. That adds more experience to your portfolio. So if you are somebody who is in that position right now, you cannot say you don't have experience after completing masters. You can credibly say you have 2 years postgraduate experience, as you know, whatever you've done in whichever specialty. So that is the difference from if you've done if you're overseas qualified and completed masters elsewhere. That
Absolutely.
is your experience. Okay, that's a point that you can note for your CV, isn't it, Urvashi?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
well,
So coming to a major difference, which I just came to know a few weeks back. So while completing our roadmaps, as we have done masters from the UK, we get certification and one of the module which is already done in the master. So which I do not have to repeat, and I can use the evidence-based practice what I have already done. So that was an add-on, and I was very happy when I heard that. I was like, okay, wow, it's already done for me. So, yeah, very, very beneficial of what the journey I have been through. And currently, what I'm doing, it's every day I hear, it is fruitful for me.
good, good, good. Okay, so you're saying that for your FCP, your first contact physiotherapist, that was the evidence that you had to provide, but you don't have to because you've already completed that module
Yes,
in your masters.
yes,
Thank you. Thank you.
yes, yes.
So everyone, please note this down. If you're MSK Physio, sports physio is pursuing your career into FCP in the UK, which is first contact physiotherapist, make sure that you look at what your master's has covered already before you go on to what is required for you as an FCP to continue your journey. Okay, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
So, this was about your master's, right? Tell me a little bit about your experience in transitioning, like on the ground when you're seeing a patient. What differences did you notice? So, a patient in India, a patient in the UK.
Right. So completely a different setup. So a patient in I'll start with India first. So India, if a patient is coming for a PA shoulder, periarthritic shoulder, so we are just focusing on the condition that the patient has been attending me for. Unlike UK believes in having a psychosocial approach with majorly with the profession I am in right now, we have first thing first, we have to rule out red flags. No matter if it is a patient in an MSK setup, a patient in an FCP setup, we are going to have a psychosocial approach. B, most importantly, the whole background of the assessment revolves around, is the patient safe and healthy to be treated? Does the patient has any red flags or anything that needs medical attention? So we are not only just physios here, but we are seeing a whole holistic approach to the patient. And then we come up to, okay, this is the solution. The patient came up to me for this. As an FCP, this is my role. As an MSK, what is my role? If the patient is reluctant, he doesn't want any physiotherapy, what is the other way I can help him from? Which I said psychosocial, whether I can refer him for something which he or she is dealing, or if the patient is not interested in physiotherapy sessions, is the patient interested in aqua therapy, any other exercise, any group therapies? So depending, this is the major difference. And I feel when you are filtering out everything, you feel proud of yourself. Okay, you are doing something great and you are helping somebody. You're helping a patient walk out with a smile. So yeah, I mean, these are the difference.
Thank you. Thank you. So you're saying that in the UK, you focus more on holistic approach of a patient. So you're not just looking at that particular part, body part,
Absolutely.
but you look at everything else because that is what we learned when we complete our bachelor's and master's, that human body is interconnected. You cannot just treat one part just because the patient is complaining of that one part. So that was the major difference. And I think another difference, what Urvashi is saying, there are so many referral pathways already set and well established that it gives you know exactly what a patient needs. Okay, unlike in India where what all services are available locally or within that state, so it's feasible for a patient to travel. Whereas in the UK, because the healthcare system is so established, you kind of get those referral pathways quite soon in close proximity. So that is easier. Thank you so
Yes.
much. So, everyone, note this down. These are the subtle differences. If you are somebody who's sitting right now and thinking, I want to pursue my career in the UK, what should I be knowing? Listen to this podcast very carefully with your pen and paper, and that's how you understand what you need as a
Absolutely.
physiotherapist. Okay, thank you. So let's go back to your masters again. I'm quite interested in masters because I had completely different opinion from yours. Okay, I always think you don't need another masters, or you don't always have to pursue a masters to as an overseas qualified to come to a new country. Okay, as long as you're HCPC registered, you can come and practice. You can start applying for jobs within the comfort of your own home from your home country. Once you apply for a job, get shortlisted, Teams interview, like virtual interview, and then you come to the UK or anywhere in the world. But you thought masters helped you in finding your feet. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience about that? Why do you think a masters would help somebody?
So, see, first and foremost thing, if you are coming directly from India, first thing you get is a cultural shock. Cultural shock could be relating to profession, personal, everything is different here. Everything is different. When you are doing masters, when you're entering as masters, you are getting all the minute areas to explore, from the culture till the learning experience, till understanding how a work culture works in the UK, what people see, because we are speaking 8 different languages here. Even if we are speaking English, they have a different accent. It's altogether different. If you are speaking well in English as well, and when you come to directly, it's not very easy, because in Yorkshire it's a different accent, London it's a different accent, Wales it's a different accent plus slangs. So when you're treating a patient, what really helped me was I already knew this in the background. So patient won't come directly speaking this clean English, right? You have to, even if you're educated, even if you're very good at your role, you have to understand this very, I'm just starting with a very basic point, this is like a basic thing, but it makes a massive difference, I feel, especially when you're practicing and when you're working with NHS. You have to be so sure of what you're speaking out, because there are patients who get offended if you're not saying sorry, thank you. Patients get offended, because I remember my manager the other day, he was speaking about basic etiquettes. People who are coming directly from different countries, they don't know that these here people want thank you, kind regards. They want to be felt or treated respectful, which we are not very aware. We have this thing of directly speaking out, okay, you have this problem, you need to do this, that's it. But kindness is something which I really learned while working, when I was a student. I didn't have HCPC, and I was doing part-time jobs as well. And you won't believe, those part-time job has groomed me, because in UK you don't have a maid, you have to do everything by yourself. So those part-time job experiences also has helped me to do a smallest task. So now, as I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I can proudly say, any smallest task you give me, I'll do it properly, neatly, and I'm just relating personal, professional, everything. So yeah, I mean, this was a thing. And then coming to education, one most important thing, interacting with my professors. So many of my colleagues, they don't believe in having a social and active profile on social media like LinkedIn. Many of my colleagues, they are not even active on LinkedIn, and they have such a bright profile when I speak. And this also I learned while studying, socializing, communicating, understanding, this kind of session, expressing what you learned. You are helping others to build their life through this podcast, I feel. So something like this also I learned while studying, because there are so many talented people who are still shy to speak out. But when you come as a student, it's from the scratch, you're preparing yourself for a better life in the UK.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I've noted a few points. I like writing my notes. Okay. I've noted a few points as you were saying. Okay, the podcast is taking its own direction and I love it. Okay. You said cultural shock. Okay. As a physiotherapist who's come like me, I've come from India to the UK after getting married. Okay. That's a completely different scenario. And even then, getting into my first job was difficult. Okay. It wasn't easy at all, even though I had visa sorted. What helped me is what exactly Urvashi said, doing part time jobs, understanding the English that we know, which we feel we talk very fluently. Yes, we do, but even we have an accent. And it is difficult for people to understand what we are saying because for example, I'm Marathi. When I talk or when I used to talk, it used to feel as if I'm talking English in Marathi.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, and that's exactly how it is here. Like you gave example of Wales, you gave example of Yorkshire and Leeds. Every single part has their own way of speaking. Okay, and for you to understand that, it's important for you to go and get out there, start communicating. Even if you don't have a job, okay, go out and order at a restaurant. Go out and order at a barista, and that's how you learn what they're saying. Okay, play with your money. Okay, you have your coins, different coins. You have to be able to use money physically to understand what is 1 pound, what is 50p. Okay, that is a culture shock. Very minute differences in both the countries. Okay, but that is not to pull you down. It is just that you get prepared of what
Prepared.
is required when you come to a new country. Okay, be it any country, not just UK. Go to US, go to Canada, go to Australia, New Zealand. Everywhere there are these subtle differences. Okay, that's number one. Number two, what Urvashi was saying, and what we've discussed. We've had a casual talk before we had this podcast. We always feel the grass is greener on the other side. Okay, because all you see is Instagram profiles, all you see is Facebook updates, and you think, wow, it's amazing in the UK. This is it is not that. It is what you do when you come to the UK. Like Urvashi said, now she's a mom. Her baby is 9 to 10 months old. Am I right?
10 months old. Yeah.
10 months old, and you don't have any house help, so you've got to do everything. Okay, then get yourself ready. Okay, you don't have any house help, get yourself ready, get your baby ready. Okay, you don't have a driver, you have to drive. Okay, if you're lucky enough, if not, you have to take the public transport, and all those small things do matter. Okay, and that's why it's important for you to have those ground rules set. If I'm going abroad, this is a shock, personal shock that I'm going to get, that my mom is not going to serve me anything on my plate. I have to cook if I'm hungry. I cannot always go outside and eat. Okay, like fortunately in India you have so many places where you have so many options. You can join a mess and you can, go and eat, you can get that side sorted. But here it's not that. You have to do everything. And last thing, I think you mentioned about your relationship with your professors and lecturers in the
Yes.
university. Yeah,
Absolutely.
there is a
Yeah.
different level of interaction when it comes to, it's equal. You're not lower than somebody or higher than somebody. It's like you can go and talk to them and discuss like a friend of what you want. Okay, and that's how you learn from them. Okay, the social skills, the please, thank you, and all these etiquettes are really important in the UK, and that can go against you, especially if you haven't been given a good induction, or if you don't have a manager who understands that this is a difference. For us, like defending my overseas qualified physios again here, it is not that you are being rude. Our tone itself, like I'm an Indian, my tone itself is saying that please. Like the way I'm talking to Urvashi now, she knows that I'm talking politely with her. Okay. But if I
Exactly.
have to ask Urvashi to switch on her camera, I would say, can you please switch on your camera,
Yeah.
Urvashi? Okay. So these are small things that people do get offended because they're used to that. It's not against you, it is what they are used to listening since they were children. And for us, it is difficult because since we were children, you won't say that. Please, thank you, sorry. Okay, it doesn't come naturally. You would just say, sorry, it's okay. Sorry is like the most commonly used. But then these small things are really important. So thank you, Urvashi, for touching on those small points, which our viewers are really going to love about the UK. And even those who've been here and went back to their home countries thinking it hasn't worked for me. If it hasn't worked for you, you have to reflect on why it hasn't worked for you. Urvashi came here with a completely different mindset. She, when she was doing her masters, she's done a few things to ensure that she gets a job at the end of her course. Okay. And what she did during her masters matters. So tell us a little bit about a day, one day, ideal day when you were pursuing your masters, and how did you prepare yourself to be a physiotherapist? I mean, get a job immediately after you finish your masters. What all did you do?
Right. So, starting with my degree course, I did MSc in Sports and Exercise Medicine from the Leeds Beckett University. So, what different I did was, while studying, once everything was done, once all my modules, once all my terms ended, which we call different we have different modules. You need to finish their articles, their research work, their practical. So everything, when it was done, in this process I had already started applying for HCPC. As soon as my HCPC came, I got something in me, and I was like, okay, now is the time. I am prepared. I should start my job hunting. So how I did my job hunting. So first challenge, which I have a community with where I'm helping other physios. First challenge with everyone, I'm getting so many texts every day. Ma'am, I'm getting rejections because I do not have UK experience. I do not have UK master's degree or UK experience. I don't know why n number of people are getting rejections. So how I tackled or worked on that was, I made a list. I picked one of the cafe next to my home where I lived in Leeds. I sat there, opened my laptop, got my diary, a pen, made a list of all the private clinics that were near my place. I started either calling them, I started either sending them an email, I started just dropping in sometimes, but to talk to other physios and ask for voluntary free work. Even if you don't pay me, I'm happy to attend to you on the weekends. And as I was doing masters in sports, we used to go on the fields at workplace, which could be basketball field, football, or baseball, swimming, ice skating, any sport. Me and my friends used to just drop in, talk to other sports physios who are already working. So in England, football is everything for them. So we started targeting football teams with kids and children, and started talking to their coaches, their sports physios, to understand how can we get a job, secure a job, or learn from you guys. So I had done few of the voluntary free work with such clinics and sports teams, which again is not possible with everyone. It's not a very practical solution because not everyone entertains. Just because I was in that same profession, same masters, I got into it. The other way is, you can target your private clinics near your place, talk to them. Sometimes you get lucky and they will just call you to do an observership. But what really helped people to secure a job, or what helped me, was attending workshops, free webinars, because I couldn't afford that to pay, because I was already a student, and we have this 20 hours limit where you cannot work more than 20 hours. So, you know how financially also you struggle. It's not very easy, but it's all a very fun process. Even when you're working part time, you get to see everything. I have worked in the races, like, horse races. We have served drinks in the races, so you get to see that. So it, even a part-time work is fun, no matter how much you're struggling there. So what I'm trying to say was, there also I used to search, okay, am I seeing any sports team, any physiotherapist? So I always that thing in me, that I want to learn, I want to interact with people relating to my field, to understand how the whole picture is in the UK. So coming
Perfect.
back to the major point, which people say they get rejections, you have to do free webinars, contact the private clinics. And what really helped me grab my first job, coming to that, I registered myself on Glassdoor, Indeed, Facebook as well. There are many pages on Facebook that gives you job notification, vacancies, about everything wherever there is a vacancy available. And the second thing, what really helped me, I used to send at least 20 to 30 applications. Every evening, I used to sit and I was like, okay, I'm sending application. I don't care if I get rejection. I'm just sending it. So every day you have to target at least 20 to 30. I think 20 to 30 is minimum. My colleagues have done more than 50 applications as well. So see what your profile is, then only accordingly apply. Even you apply for a lower role, it's absolutely fine. You just have to enter to get experience. So how I grabbed my first job, I was working as an occupational MSK. So this I got through Glassdoor or Indeed. I think Indeed. So I got on Indeed. So yeah, that was my first job. I'll come to that in detail.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. So, listen, all the viewers, what Urvashi is trying to say here is that it's not about whether you should, the question is not about whether you should pursue a master's or not. The question is, no matter what route you are in, like you're pursuing masters, you came here immediately after, on dependent visa or anything, what you do when you come here matters in the first couple of years. Okay, how you set your foundation strong. So, do you know how to apply for HCPC? Have you applied for HCPC, right? What experience have you got in the UK? What experience do you have from your home country? Okay. If not direct formal experience, are you prepared to work for full time study 20 hours work because you have to get your expenses, right? You have to manage your own expenses. And then dedicate your weekends to some volunteer work. So you get to interact with people and you get to network with physios in the field or healthcare professionals in the field for that matter, and you never know how those relationships develop in future for you and how they can help you, right? So it's not about coming to a new country with a feeling of I am going to enjoy my life because I wanted this as a tag on my portfolio that I've been to London, I've been to UK, I've been to Australia. It is not that. It is what you do when you get there matters more than that. Whatever you see on social media profiles is only the brighter side or the side like 1% of what we do here. Okay. We work hard. You have to dedicate extra hours. You have to finish your household chores and everything. So, this is what matters. Free workshops is what Urvashi mentioned. Very important. Okay. Get yourself onto free workshops, free webinars, and that's how you meet other physios, meet other healthcare professionals, and then you understand the healthcare system. It is not by going to parties you understand that. Okay.
Exactly.
And it is, and one more thing, very small points. I'm picking out what Urvashi is saying. 20 to 30 jobs minimum per day. What does that tell you? That tells you that there are jobs in the UK. There are opportunities in the UK. How you build yourself to get into one of those is up to you. Okay. So I wouldn't listen to anyone who says there are no opportunities in this country, don't even bother going. How you prepare yourself, how you target those jobs is up to you. Okay, so always try. Before giving up, you try yourself, don't listen to others. Okay, thank you, Urvashi. It's really interesting to listen to this, everything that you've done so far. And I love the cheerful baby in the background. At least you're happy. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, going back to researching universities. Okay, I'm sure it wasn't easy for you to just you go into Leeds Beckett. You must have looked at interviews. For example, in India, you you get credibility from which university you've completed your studies from. Is it the same in the UK? Do you have to be mindful about which universities you choose here, or does it not matter?
So, ma'am, to be very, very, very honest and unfiltered, thing which I want to say is they search for a course that has the least fees because it is an expensive affair. So again, yeah, it has to be relating to MSK because yeah, according to my experience, I mean, whatever you like it, like if you like pedo, if you like ortho, whatever your field is, stay connect or link to similar ones. So mine was ortho. That's why I did MSc in sports and exercise medicine. And this was something new. I'd already done in orthopedics. So learning about sports. So what I targeted was that, okay, England is all about sports. Sports and exercise medicine was again relating to my thing. And when England is all about sports and especially football, so I thought I'll learn more things. So I have also learned about emergency medicine. If there's a head injury to a player, how will you handle that? So anything which you are interested in, when you understand it's in your budget, and it is also going to be a new learning process. So this is something which anyone can target, and seeing the least fees. So if it's in your budget, you're able to manage because it is an expensive affair. I feel that is one of the reason where people don't want to come as a student in the UK, and they want, because not everyone can afford it, and I completely understand that as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much. So, what Urvashi was saying there is you don't have to look for the best university. Okay. If you're good academically, you can always apply for scholarships and all of that. But then, if you're somebody who just wants to pursue masters in the UK, go for university that you think fits in your budget. Okay. There is a difference between fees for local students and for international students. And it is double of what the local students pay,
Exactly.
right? And masters in the UK is not that common. People do it after they gain some experience, as after their bachelor's, they work for a few years and then they get their masters done because they feel that there is a need for them to learn more. Wow, that was an incredible journey from Urvashi Ravindra, who is the first contact physiotherapist in the UK. And we just spoke about her journey from from being an overseas qualified and coming to a new country, and what small things you need to have in mind when you're trying to decide whether you want to go to a new country or not, pursuing masters or not. So it was a really insightful interview. I hope you enjoyed the podcast, and there is going to be a part two of this particular podcast. You've all seen that Urvashi has a 10-month-old child. So we are going to continue her journey from completing her master's in a new country to getting on a band 7, which is first contact physiotherapist, and her journey beyond. So stay tuned for the part 2 of this podcast. This is your Priya Physio signing off. Take care. Bye.